Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on building a culture of accountability and ownership. Very important yet neglected topics as we will discuss today. My name is Barrister Sahar. I'm a partner at Akhund Forbes, which is a top-ranked law firm in Pakistan. I'll hand the floor over to our speakers today, starting with Kaleemullah. If you could please briefly introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you, Sahar. Kaleemullah naam hai mera. It's been a while. I was not doing any webinars on the forum, but because I had I broke my ankle, but now I'm back. So I've been in UAE since more than 10 years now. I'm doing businesses in UAE. I am the chief operating officer of Falak Group. And under the umbrella of Falak Group, we are doing businesses in the verticals of tourism, IT, marketing, and real estate. So that's
That's
Kalimullah. Thank you.
Thank you. That's interesting. I wasn't aware Falak Group had ventured into these verticals and from you. Um, Asif, Qureshi, if you could please introduce yourself.
Well, Assalamu alaikum and thank you for having me here today. Well, मेरा नाम आसिफ कुरैशी है and I head FSL Group in capacity of the CEO and founder. Under FSL Group, we are into debt recovery and we have another company that is Leaders Corporate. Leaders Corporate is into ERP and management consulting. We do mobile apps and business applications under Leaders Corporate. Under FSL, we do debt recovery. Then we are into the UE market as well with Leaders Advertising. So we deal into outdoor marketing and all kind of your marketing needs within the region. So this is all
Are
about me.
you? Thank you. Are you currently based in UAE or Pakistan?
I keep on traveling, but yes, now we are based in Pakistan at the moment, and we do have offices in the UAE as well.
Okay, thank you. And Ahmad, familiar face. Ahmad, if you could introduce yourself.
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Ahmad Javaid, and I'm currently practicing as a CEO of Cytellite, which is a consultancy firm offering the digital trust services covering cybersecurity, digital privacy, and cyber resilience within the Middle East, working from past couple of decades in the Middle East. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. So, as I said, today's really the main buzzword for today's webinar is accountability. And I think most of us, if not all, will agree that we're seeing a lack of accountability increasingly, generally in the country, in the society, in different professions. Um, so again, just going back to the topic is building a culture of accountability and ownership. Now, my questions are twofold. First, if there was a culture of accountability and ownership, and why have we lost that culture, and how can we bring it back? So I think, go around. Since we have a small panel, I'll just go around. So, Kaleemullah, would you like to answer this first?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. So why do we lack the culture of accountability? Right. This was one part of the question, correct? Yeah. So when we come across as the leaders in business, I'm being in the leadership role for 5 years now as a chief operating officer. So small instances at work comes up where, for example, if you don't define the roles of the employees and don't set the expectations right, as a leader, it's very, as a manager, let's not put it leader, as a manager, team leader, for you, it's very hard then to make them accountable, right? Because from their first, their set of roles are not defined. In a startup, for example, everyone is wearing multiple hats. So, for example, a marketing manager is doing a content creation also while managing the social media, for example. So she don't know the demarcation of her boundaries, right, in her role. So tomorrow something is happening on the content creation. She's like, yeah, but I'm a marketing manager. I'm responsible for this, right? And the problem is you cannot hold accountable her because you have given her multiple tasks. and have not defined it for her. Like, yeah, you can do it, you can do it. Like, so for me, the accountability and is should be there, but from as a manager, as a team leader, as a
Mhm.
senior in the company, you should tell that person or the employee that yes, these are your core jobs, and this is what you will be asked for. Your KPIs are these. Your promotion is based on this. Your career path is like that. This is what is lacking in for I will for me since I use the word startup because since we started businesses in UAE after leaving my job, so for us every company is a startup. So our first company was made 4 years ago. Then after that, every year we have one or two companies building up. So me as a leader face these challenges when and one reason one accident I will tell the audience which happened today. So I told my marketing person that I need a podcast. So I don't have a cameraman. She's a camera person, right? She is a lighting person. She needs to set the environment. So and nothing was ready, right? So I couldn't tell her, okay, you are doing a very bad job because I cannot hold her accountable because there is no team, right? And I am assuming as a manager that she has to do everything. So accountability will for sure fade away at a time when startup like us or will do these small mistakes. I hope I answer one part of the question.
Yes.
Accountability,
Yes.
why it is fading away.
Yes, I agree with you, and it's an interesting perspective. So, just to summarize what you've said, we need to have clear, defined roles for our employees. We shouldn't
Yes,
be overwhelming them or just dumping work on them because
yeah,
they will feel overwhelmed, they will feel a little lost. And if they have too many things to do, and especially outside their comfort zone, they will not, they will, shy away from being accountable. So I
true.
agree with that. Asif, would you like to add anything?
Well, just adding to what Mr. Kaleemullah stated, that is exactly the point I would say ideally. But see, what I think today is, uh, we are mostly working with the new generation, right? I'm not from the very older one as well, but I think everything is changing after like 3 or 4 years. So what I feel today is that when we are welcoming the new individuals today, who are the young grads or maybe having couple of years in the industry, couple of years of experience in the industry, the problem where I actually see is that people are not taking up the ownership. And when there is no ownership, there will be no accountability, right? Now, when it comes to an ownership, I mean to say that, for example, you have to do a job A and you will mostly get an answer, well, that's not my job, right? Unless it is not stated in your employment contract or so. Now, as Mr. Kalimullah stated, when it comes to a startup, you cannot have an individual person for every individual thing. So there is a possibility that you need to have a person who can do multi jobs. And in the recent past, if you remember, people used to write in their resumes that I'm a multitasker. So what does that mean, right? So multitasker meant that I can do multiple things at the same time. Now, when we are expecting that, okay, don't do multiple things, do a couple of them, the first that question that comes up is that, well, that's not my job. All right, fine, fair enough. Then let's focus on the other one. Now, if you are focusing on the other one, and if I go and ask my journal manager that this job is not being done the way it should be, the answer that I get is, well, I think we have hired a person who is taking a lesser salary. That is why he is not giving his complete effort. So there is a need to, do the salary adjustment. So every day you are into that vicious circle. You see, that is the main problem. So what I personally think is, and your second part of the question was that how we can bring it back. Maybe just multiple brainstorming sessions, multiple counseling sessions. I see the only light in the tunnel, that can be the only way. Or you can just redirect the task and you can just lock it down to every person, and you can maybe ask or follow up on every day or maybe every week maybe, and somehow it can help us. But that's what I think maybe.
No, I agree with that. I think, and just giving an example of my own profession in law firms, uh, So we start as associates, we start as fresh graduates, right? And it also depends from person to person. So we get lawyers, we get fresh graduates who take the initiative, who will come, they will ask the seniors if there's any work, how they can help, etc. So they will take that sense of ownership themselves. And then there are others who will just come, do their 9 to 5, and leave. And if you expect them to put in effort, they will expect a higher remuneration in return. So some people are motivated by money, some are motivated by title. And the other thing I think in all professions is that so when you go higher in rank, perhaps that will also build a sense of ownership and accountability. So if you're an associate, you're not the face of the law firm, right? Not a lot of clients know you. But if you include associates in client meetings and make them interact with clients directly, maybe they will build that sense of ownership and accountability themselves. So I think it depends from person to person as well, and it also comes, it's trickle down effect. So how your senior is managing and motivating the team. Ahmad, what is your perspective on this?
Yeah, first of all, my view on this is like, the organizations today, they are all striving to achieve some level of excellence in their operations. So that's a completely a field, a separate, a complete endeavor where the leadership have to look at to ensure the operational excellence within the organization, where each and every business segment and the department have to work to achieve their relevant corporate goals. So, as far as in the context of our discussion, the accountability is basically, as per my definition, is equal to responsibility plus authority. So, the people who are basically being hold responsible for specific certain amount of or the relevant tasks as far as their roles are concerned, they are basically held accountable ultimately for in case of any failure or something. So that in any organization where the accountabilities are clearly defined based on their roles, I think when they are in a right track and they are, at least struggling to achieve their corporate goals in a more proactive manner as compared to the other organizations which are more reactive in nature. And the lack of accountability is basically the I would say the measure of the level of toxicity in any organization. So the if any organization have a certain sort of like atmosphere where which is a person centric kind of an environment, then you will find these things there, that when everyone is been pushed with the responsibility but authority is kept with one person only to hold the control or manage. So it's that induces the toxicity and abuse of authority as well. So authority, clearly defined accountabilities basically drive us to practice, the exercise their roles more transparently and with given space of freedom where the micromanagement is not being done. I hope I answered the question.
No, and I completely agree with you. And it's good that you brought up the concept of workplace toxicity and corporate abuse, micromanagement, and also a person-centric firm. I think also in Pakistan, we're slightly moving away from that. We see a lot of freelancers now, but traditionally we've had a Seth culture where they're family-owned businesses, etc. We also have multinationals, but not as much as we should have. And you actually raised or you highlighted the difference between accountability and ownership. Um, and I'll ask Kaleemullah and Asif to comment on this, but I think ownership is, so you can take ownership of your job. That's up to you, right? It's not compulsory, it's not mandatory, whether you're an employee or whether you're in a management role. But accountability is, I think accountability goes hand in hand no matter what your rank or role is. As a manager, you're accountable for certain things. As an employee, you're accountable to certain things. And whether you take ownership of it or not is then I think that comes that's a bonus feature. So that really comes if you're that kind of person or not. Kaleemullah, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah. So sir, जिस तरह आपने बोला ना ownership. So how I think we have spoken, me and Ahmad sir have spoken on certain webinars before. I think he can relate to this. Whenever I speak with, I put myself in the shoes for that person. So the way I personally grow, I want my employees to grow and think the same way, not doing the same hard work, but think the same way. So accountability is, I as an employer, I can fix. Ownership is from a mentality mindset.
Yeah,
So I
that's
tell my new employees that guys, if you want to grow, so if I define you that you are accountable for task A, as Mr. Asif said, right? So you will do task A, khalas, no problem. You will come 9 to 5, take your money, khalas. But that for us, this for startups or for leaders, it doesn't give any spark to us, right? This is my personal opinion. You guys can disagree for sure. Uh, for me, a person is taking initiative in my office while Kaleem, the boss or the manager, is not there. He have taken an initiative, got an approval for it, done some work which will benefit the company, not just to do his job, fine, but it will give a ROI for the company in terms of cash, in terms of efficiency, whatever. So initiative should be taken. This is what I define as ownership. People will come, like for example, currently in my IT firm, so there is one person with which I will tell him do this, so she will do it, and she's accountable for that. But when it comes to, for example, one extra thing, he or she's lacking there, and I keep trying to tell her, but again, it's mindset, right? If I go home and I think for tomorrow what I need to do better at my job to excel, not because I want to make my boss happy, just because if I do this extra thing which will make me stand out and will make the work I'm doing more efficient. That is taking ownership of your job, your task, your duty, whatever. That only comes when you take initiative. This is my take on the ownership side of things. And ownership, it it comes when you start the Mr. Ahmad mentioned the toxic environment, and things are around one person. So no one, I can guarantee it, no one can foster as a company, as individuals, employees can foster or grow in a toxic environment. If a boss is yelling, angry, and he's not letting go small mistakes, then that company will never grow. This is my take. And these are part of this affects accountability and ownership. I hope I answer the question
I agree with you,
around
and
it.
yes, thank you. And you mentioned something very positive, which is that as an employer, you want to see your employees grow and progress as well, just as you did, and in fact, with less hard work. I think then again, it also
Sorry,
depends on the.
sorry, sir. I will cut you off there. My sorry, I just want to add that I will forget it. My brother always say, my elder brother, who is the CEO of the group, he always says, Kareem, hard work. Sorry, I will be just sorry for my French. Is you can be a donkey, right? Is what we are. But he's Pathan, so he's like hardcore. He uses hardcore language. He's like, don't do donkey work, Kareem. As chief operating officer, when he sees small stuff, he said, you and the people under you should be smart when they're working. So eliminating repetitive tasks. So smart work is very important for anyone, for any organization to work. Hard work, 9 to 5, a lot of people will do. But making their own tasks, doing very smart way, is an add-on. And again, it is an initiative, right? You come, you tell someone handover is taken, marketing is done the same conventional way. A new person comes, she does it in a different way by taking initiative, right? So again, ownership is there, and then she's doing something smarter than the other person. That's which will make you stand out, and it is again not doing anything extra, but to make her job easy and making the company efficient. You continue, sorry.
No, no. That's fine. I agree with you. And I think that, so just like Emmett mentioned, a toxic culture, I think being selfless as an employer or as, as part of management is also important, because what we also see, and I also see this in my field, we don't deny the fact that, for instance, when we start the company as entrepreneurs or when we're the founding members, we've done a lot of hard work, and we feel that we're entitled to all the success and progress because we did all the hard work. But unless, and I think this is it's part of our culture and religion as well, that you should wish for others what you wish for yourself. So that's very important. Asif, do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I think Mr. Ahmad and Kaleemullah Saab has already added too much to it. Nothing new, just adding my 2 cents in it. That when it comes to, you know, setting a person accountable for something, obviously, as Mr. Ahmad rightly stated, he must be given the relevant authority as well. Now, the challenging part is then when someone have an authority and he is not taking the ownership as well. That is a problem, which I think an organizational culture has to fix it up somehow. So, if talking about the solution of the problem, I would really appreciate if Mr. Kaleemullah or Sahar yourself or Mr. Ahmad can put their comments on the solution for this problem, because I believe that this is a very common problem that every organization is going through, right? Resignation, you would say the high offers from the other organization, getting the salary hike, maybe fake offer letters or maybe genuine offer letters, no clue. Today you got hired somewhere, and very next day you are searching for another job just for some better, perks. So this is all we face in our day-to-day operations. I would really appreciate if someone of you can comment on this, because we have figured out a solution to this problem and somehow it's working as well. So if not, maybe I would be in a position to give you the solution for this problem. Yeah,
No,
please.
we'll move to Ahmed, but I think we've discussed a few solutions, which is, setting clearly defined roles, having an open culture, communication, treating your employees equally, giving them opportunities and growth for progress, not keeping everything for yourself. But we'll move to Ahmed. Ahmed, what's your response to Asif's question?
Yeah, see, primarily what we need to understand here, the any organization has its own historical background of its how this particular type of culture got evolved. If we look step into an organization atmosphere where we feel like people are energetic and they are contributing positively, it is not by chance. It is, of course, the amount of effort which has been put down by the leadership in order to ensure the positivity, the motivation within the staff members as well. So in the past, what it used to happen, like uh, the employment tenure used to be quite long. People used to stay in the organization from 15, 20 years, and they used to become stagnant and become started getting into their comfort zone, and then they were started resisting the changes. They were become the bottlenecks or the hurdles to enable any change within the organization, because the sense of as you grow, as you stay longer in the organization, the sense of insecurity increases, and that basically the lays down the very foundation of toxicity. People should not should be brought out from the comfort zone, and to to by introducing such an environment where everyone have a right to speak, everyone have a equal right to contribute as well, and nobody is going to be pinpoint. And of course we need the biases, the segregations, the different set of groupings. So all those reasons which basically introduce the toxicity in the organization has to be avoided or prevented, and that is not possible without having a proper or clear vision in the mind that why all of us we are here as an organization. If I ask a very simple question that what forms a group of people, a team, the simple answer is the purpose the common objective, which everyone have to contribute to achieve that common objective. If that is not clear, the people will not be able to sync and align with each other, and will not be able to contribute positively towards the right direction to achieve those goals. The reason I'm highlighting these details becomes the very reason of that, the toxic environment, that when people are basically very start feeling insecure within their comfort zone to resist any changes, and such environments where managers stay longer, they basically develop a sort of a protection wall around them, and then nobody can reach them, and there is a lack of understanding and the trust among the employees and the management as well. So all those things basically become the reasons of the downfall of any organization. Now the question, coming to the question from Asif, is that what is the solution for that? See, we first of all, within the organization, the self improvement process needs to be injected within their practices as part of their strategic operational excellence program. What does that mean is, like, the if a person or the key positions, the people who hold the key positions should not basically make them invincible within the organization, should not be make or should not be allowed to make them, like, undestructible or something, very powerful, the power center, I would say. So there should be a mechanism by defining a governance policies and procedures, a governance framework. There should be a proper succession plan as well. There should be someone who is ready to replace a person if he is or someone is heading out to the organization. Which means that when if a person is leaving the organization, he should not leave all the historical details, the data, the company secrets along with that. And that is why it is emphasized on the fact, like, each and every meeting has to be minuted, and the documentation is available. So if a person is not available, the company operations should not stop. So by adopting such healthy practices, which basically prevent any organizations to develop inner power centers within the organization, and bringing out the people from their comfort zones by creating or infusing a positive culture around, so that they feel free to contribute, they feel free to comment and share their ideas, and it should be well received. We can avoid a lot of toxicity. That's one thing. Second thing is, by clearly defining the accountabilities. Now there's a two terms generally usually been used interchangeably: responsibility and accountability. These are not same in my definition. Responsibility is someone who, for a person who is responsible for some task, who is functionally involved in performing that task, but his or her manager will be held accountable ultimately if something goes wrong. So the accountability is at the higher level, and the responsibility is at the level of the functional execution of the activities. So hence that said, like, generally those people who are power centered, they usually push the responsibility out to the, or delegate the responsibility out to the other colleagues, and keep the authorities with them. So that basically make them more sort of insecure in terms of, like, keeping the power in their hand. So if we have adopt such practices which basically avoids such things, such as, like, for each and every person or each and every manager, there should be a key officially announced, a backup person, assistant should be announced in the organization, that in absence of this ABC manager, this assistant will be responsible. So the our operations should not basically affect because of any organization, any single person. And on the other side, clearly defined roles and responsibilities as part of the JDs would not work only. That's just a document for the sake of showing to the auditors, though. But effectively implementing those practices and defining an adequate check and balances to monitor. That is very important. That's where, I mean, I have mentioned that if you want to kill any organization, it's a simple two-word formula: micromanagement. You start monitoring the actions of the people and start questioning everything, all positivity will die, and within a couple of years you will have the dead bodies around, in terms of, like, the processes are failing, revenue is gone, people itself, you insider threats will increase, and so forth. So giving clearly defining the objectives, giving the team members a clearly defined objectives to achieve, and give them a free space to exercise and practice their or put down their efforts to achieve those objectives. And you just need to sit and do the, from the macro management point of view, just need to monitor the results. So that's what I think, it's a more healthy way to avoid those problems and put or infuse a positive culture within an organization by clearly defining accountabilities and ownership. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, and I agree with you that micromanagement kills uh, sense of accountability and ownership. It's not conducive to growth. I also agree with you, and I think all of us agree that there should be clearly defined roles. You mentioned something which is that earlier we used to see employees staying in organizations for decades, and it could lead to stagnation. I think there are two sides to this. Personally, my own work ethics is, if you join an employer, if you join an organization, you don't join with the intention of quitting. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Every time, I mean, yes, career growth is important, but I think there should be a certain level of dedication, commitment, and loyalty as well. Of course, you can't stay stagnated, you can't be in regression. If you don't see an opportunity for growth and you feel unhappy and miserable, and you feel that you'll be able to use your potential to the maximum somewhere else, great, move on. um, Kaleem, do you have any solutions to add to what Ahmed said?
Yeah, I would comment on one point where the employees leave, as Asif said, and another offer is there, or fake offer letters, or why, and the point you raised, just raised that no one comes to a company to leave, right? But for me, the important thing is, for any employee who is listening to this, working somewhere, if you're coming to a company and you're coming there for money only, you cannot find a lot of companies. They will pay you good, but are you, when you go to that office, do you feel like working there? You're just waiting for that paycheck date. Oh my God, I'm done 9 to 5, khalas. Get my 200K and PKR or whatsoever salary, 50,000, 60,000, khalas. So there, it depends upon the mentality, the person who is in that position. So I will share a personal experience, because I always tell me, Mr. Ahmed can relate. I always give an example, because in the past 10 years, a lot of people I brought from my country to work here for us. And so I brought a guy whom I trained, whom I gave visa, whom I employed. And again, okay, Mr. Asif, to your point, it's a real story. He was like, boss, my worth is this now. I was like, yeah, I understand, I respect that. Just give us 6 months when the company is at that stage, we will give you. But no, we put all that money on your training, on your growth. So if your worth is like that, I understand. But we were, as a company, we put that effort on you, right? So you cannot use it as an argument. Anyways, he didn't want to wait for the 6 months. So another point, as you said, no one, a rolling stone carries no mass. In this world, I would not agree with that. Today, you need to be a rolling stone, and the young generation cannot be fixed on the same position. They will work for you maximum, so say 2 years, 1 year. After that, they will get bored, even however the best environment you provide them. And I'm living this situation right now as we speak. So it's very hard. It's how people are brought up, how what ethics they carry and what ethics they bring to work. You cannot change someone's attitude or character just by cultivating values in the office, in organization. So our group of companies have more than say 150 employees in UAE and some 100 in Pakistan. I cannot be a good employer for all of them. I went to my mentor and I asked him, look, what should I do? I'm very stressed about these people leaving and coming. He just showed me this hand. Are they equal? I said no. So you cannot make all these five fingers happy, right? I'm like, yeah, you're right. Makes sense. So don't stress about it. If someone is so that guy had decided that I will come, learn a trade, learn a skill, and move on. So you cannot stress about that thing. The right people who will come to you and will stay with you will work for a certain period of time. So I work with my team very closely, like as a not as a boss. So if I walk in a room, I'm that
You work
Instagram
with
boss
them as
who,
part of a team.
yeah, we will do high fives, hugs, and all that things, right? It's like a friend is in the office, but I know they will leave, and it's okay because I don't bring in emotions. For me, I want to have an environment when they are staying there, they have healthy environment. I want to deliver a message that tomorrow this X person goes, the least thing I need to hear is, oh, that company is very bad, very toxic environment. Because that person is gonna leave. We cannot control it. So I have more stories, but yeah, this was just a year ago. And I let the guy go. I said, thank you very much for your service to us. And whatever your worth is, you may find it soon. And I don't know if he found the job or not, but yeah, he left. If he was trying to play a card, as Mr. Asif said, I told him, this is your cancellation date of your visa. It was a pleasure working with you. Best of luck for your future endeavors. Because in his mind, he have already moved on. I never try to offer high salary or anything because when I hire a person, I give him targets, KPIs. You meet it, you take it. If you don't meet it, there's no discussion. Don't come to me because we don't. The world is so fast in the nowadays, the global economy, that we don't have time for arguing for say 1,000 dirhams or 1,500 dirhams or housing allowance. Or an employee came to me, other company is providing me housing allowance. Should I leave? I said, it's your family. I'm not taking care of them. I'm taking care of you, right? If you want a housing allowance and you're not happy, I'm happy for you. Leave. It's fine because you are in the middle of the targets. The quarter is not finished. I cannot promise you anything. The budgeting is already done. So I hope I answered and added something to Mr. Asif and Ahmad and yours point of view.
Yes, you did, and you said when an employee has mentally moved on, then no matter what you offer him, he won't be happy, and you won't be able to make sure that he stays. And I'll just mention there's a very interesting concept in law. So you can ask for specific performance when there's a breach of contract. You can ask for specific performance. So, for example, if you and I enter into an agreement and I promise to sell you my house for X rupees and I refuse to sell it, you can actually go to the court and ask the court to require me to sell my house. Employment or service is the only, I think it's the only field where you cannot force somebody to work for you, because it ultimately it's human. I mean, you're dealing with human beings. Dealing with people, and as you said, if you have 150 employees, not and even if you behave with all of them the same way, not all of them will feel about you the same way. So it depends, it changes from person to person. You mentioned KPIs, and I think we've all agreed this is one recurring point in today's webinar is that clearly defined KPIs gives a sense of accountability. What I've seen in recently is that you're given KPIs, and when you achieve them, then the employer has a change of heart or mind, because sometimes there's bad faith on the part of the employees as well. If they don't want to see you succeed or grow, they will say, oh no, but this isn't enough, you should do this. And when you do that, then again it's not enough. So Asif, I hope you've found some solutions to the question you asked, and you also said you had some solutions. which you would like to share yourself. So would you like to
See,
add anything or
first of
should
all,
we?
yeah, of course. Nothing too much. First of all, I'm glad that we are not the only one who are facing these challenges. Everybody does. So that is one thing. Now, the second part is, see, based on my experience, what we have realized is we have learned it a hard way. You can do things in three broader ways. Number one is an owner-driven business, team-driven business, or a process-driven business, right? So I think you should rather emphasize on transforming your business into a process-driven business. So that is what I was stating earlier, that somehow we have found out a solution to this problem, and there is only one solution to this issue, and that is a process. So invest as much as time as you can as an owner, as a leader, as a senior management, and building the processes of your organization. Once these processes are built good enough, invest time to implement those. And once they are implemented successfully, your organization will work on autopilot. You won't believe that we started from like 5 people, and today we are a family of 500 people in totality, right? So there are 500 people working in this organization. The only thing that I was able to crack was, earlier there was a lot of problem. People come, people go. There were, a lot of modalities. There were, frequent switches. There were frequent problems within the organization. चाहे 3 वक्त नहीं मिल सकती हमें, etc., etc. A lot of petty issues. So there is one solution to all these problems, and that is you build good processes. Just try to build that, and I hope that was definitely going to help. That is my take on this. Yeah.
That's great, and it's great to hear that you grew from 5 to 500. I've seen the opposite happening in the
Yeah.
last couple of years.
Yeah.
But Ahmed, moving to you, I think we've also touched upon how open feedback and communication is important between employer and employees, and that also leads to a culture of accountability and ownership. And this, in turn, leads to innovation within the team. The team doesn't stay stagnant; it grows. Um, and I mean, I won't like to, but the macroeconomic factors also has an impact on an organization. So if you live in a country, if you live in a society where you see a lot of unaccountability generally, or you don't see the system working as fairly as it should, it's sort of psychologically you think, oh, I'm part of the system. Already a lot of things are not working. Why should I put in so much effort? So I also see that happening lately. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, primarily, see, first of all, we should not ignore the fact that it's all human side of the things which organizations should consider. The corporate leaders generally completely focus on that corporate objectives such as profitability or process improvements and so forth, but more oftenly ignore the people side of it. So people traits are generally like relative in nature, and everyone is different in a way that to deal with certain set of information, the situation, or how a one will respond or act in a particular situation. So that is why the organizations which basically undergo lots of ups and downs, and of course that cascades the effect from the top to down approach, where one organization is going through a lot of like loss of revenue, and they lost the customers, business is not doing well. Of course the leadership may not be able to afford offering 3 times a tea to the employees. So given the fact like the exercising a transparency is, I think, is magical. I mean, I have seen in the organizations where I have worked, where managers are comparatively transparent in sharing their own challenges with their teams. I think that done the wonders, because the team members, they start feeling that way as equally part of the team. That helps developing that trust environment, and that fosters the good contribution efforts in terms of achieving the common team goals. Now, in the context of your question, like those organizations which have grown in a rapid pace, of course, the a set of a good corporate governance practices needs to be introduced in the organization, such as in one of the discussion in the last week we were talking about that change enablement, how it should be managed and depending on how it's going to be perceived from a benefits point of view towards the organization to achieve the corporate goals. So considering the people side of it, it's one element. But coming back to the thing, the managers and the leaders within the corporate environment basically plays a pivotal role in enabling and ensuring the positive culture. One thing which I've said, exercising the transparency. If that is not there, then we cannot have a trustworthy relationships with our employees. And on the other side, I mean, if I share my own examples, my one of my team member one day walks into my room and asking me, which is one of my staff, considering our very positive relationship and trustworthy relationship, they have all the guts to come to me and ask, sir, I actually got a better offer. What do you advise me to do that? So that's exactly is the fruit of that effort of fostering the positive culture and developing the trustworthy relationships with your employees. That the guy who's reporting to me, instead of getting defensive and trying to hide me what offer he's getting, and maybe he's getting a more better financial offer than what I'm paying, but he came to me asking for my advice. So what it needs to be done is to do a regular periodic counseling, not only other than assessing the performance of appraisals end of the quarter. So the performance appraisals are generally very based on those KPIs which are linked with your corporate goals, ignoring the element of the human. So those organizations who do not have a clear vision, first of all, or do not have a clear business strategy on where on the face of this earth we can define an effective KPIs, I never understood that. There are 99% organizations who claim to have well-defined KPIs and enforced it, but they do not have a clear vision. They do not have a documented business strategy in the place. So the strategy lists down the corporate, the business initiatives and linked with the business objectives to be met, to be achieved within a certain time period. And based on that, the KPIs are usually been derived from, and then it's distributed to different functional groups within the organization. That's how it works. And the team leaders of the department or so-called department managers have to own those objectives to be achieved, and accordingly, the performance has to be assessed. But all this process, as Asif rightly said, the process is the only way to going forward. No one should be above the law in that. There's a saying, there's no one should be above the law. The policies and procedures which have been defined, everyone's supposed to follow that. But the KPIs who have been defined to monitor the performance or assess the performance of the employees, there should be human element of it. We cannot assess one person who is going through some tough family situation, who has lost his near or dear one, to perform the same way as others are doing in the working environment. So that's why corporate leaders have to go through an intensive training in order to ensure how to take care the most important asset of their organization, which are their teams. Without that, even if whatever we do in order to define accountabilities and ownerships for the sake of just having a document there, will not work. I hope I answered the question.
You did, and this is an extremely important point, that if somebody is going through a personal loss, we need to not just the management, but I think colleagues, they need to be conscious of that fact and give some space. But that also means that the employee should not misuse or abuse his personal circumstances to, to expect leniency. That's a very important point. um, Kaleem, if unless you would like to add anything to this, there are few more questions which we can discuss as we near our 1 hour mark.
Sure,
Uh,
no problem. For the I I I want to just give one example regarding the personal problems and KPIs. So it's not a problem, but it's just the way I manage people. This morning, one thing happened that an employee is like, "Sir, I just woke up and I realized it's my daughter's birthday and she's alone here in the house, and can I not come to the office?" I said, "You have your annual leave, you have your sick leave. You just message HR and that's it. I don't need to be contacted. If you want to spend your day with your kids and family and you have a balance of leave, just take it. It's okay." And she's like, "Sir, but I didn't inform you prior." I said, "Look, even if as a manager I tell you to come now, will you work with that heart? Your mind is still there, right? And I don't want to be the reason for that. You just go, have your day, come with full energy tomorrow." And she was like, "Sir, no, you left it on me. What should I do now? The bar is my court." I said, "What makes you happy? Do it." This is this morning thing. So she was like, "Okay, sir, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I know I didn't follow the procedure of a leave application, and I just realized. And thank you very much for considering it and all that, things." So for me, this is how I see everyone. So from the office boy to the senior manager or the director level people in my company. This is how I communicate with them. My number is with everyone. So I cannot say I am the CEO of the group. Please, why you're calling me at say 9 if they have some urgent issue and they want an approval. For example, a person's uh, a person's salary is pending, so is before due to salary and he wants something urgent because someone is admitted in the hospital, so they can call me. That's the instructions from the HR. They can call me for approval even at 9 p.m. I will approve it, and whatever you can arrange the finances for the person, please send a driver and arrange it. If they need their passports, because it's not allowed, but the official documents are with us. So if you want some document to be released from the office, you can call me, can get the quote from me. The admin is authorized to release it at the same hour, and you can be contacted. So for me, these are the things which, for me, money if, for example, Mr. Asim, Mr. Ahmad comes into a career, they are here for money. I am here for money. The business person is here for money. Money will be paid to you anywhere you go. For me, these small things which makes an employee happy and leaves a mark that tomorrow, if I'm not there, my employees will be like, "Yeah, this was the best person in the world to work with." And they will, as Mr. Ahmed said, he should come to me and ask for an advice if he have learned or got any positive. Like, I'm not saying I'm doing perfect everything. If he have got that positive message from the management, he will be the one who's coming to us for advice. "Sir, what should I do?" And this happened with us with one of the employee. He was my operation manager in one of the company, and they came to us and was like, "Sir, we want to do the same business, call center marketing. We need your help, and we need your blessings, and we need your context. We need your this, can your loss, because we want to grow, like we want to become like you, the brothers, how you are." I said, "Okay, why not?" And then we helped them. We were the ones setting up their offices in here. So it depends. Again, for me, it's like five fingers. So yeah, this is my take on the issue, the point, as you said.
I think that was quite generous of you. It does hold you in good stead. Um, and I know not everybody will be as open hearted, because sometimes employees misuse these things as well. So I think it
True.
depends from employees to employees as well. And at the end of the day, it's the work, right? So even if somebody has their child's birthday and they're able to do the work which they're supposed to do, because
Yeah,
I don't want to sound mean, but sometimes the client's expecting the work to be done, and if you've
true, true.
dedicated that to somebody and they say, "Oh, but I have a birthday to attend," so I think it's a little bit of a balance. I think I'll
Yeah, yeah,
probably,
it's
yeah. But no, it's and I personally believe in helping people starting their business, even if it's similar to your business, and I think that I do agree with. I think we probably have one last question that I could raise, or maybe two. So, how can we deal with team members who are struggling? I mean, now there are two facets to this. One is somebody who doesn't want to put in the effort. I mean, that we know, right? And there'll be a phase out period for them. But what if somebody genuinely wants to work but is unable to deliver? I mean, we can keep motivating him, we can keep relaxing his KPIs, but what should be the long term? Because we always know that you can always release an employee, but how should we deal with such employees? So, Asif, moving to you.
Okay. See, someone is here to work, obviously, and if he's not performing good in his domain or in his department, I give you a very practical example. So there was we used to have a sales manager, and he was not able to do anything in terms of sales, right? He was not able to do his targets. He was not able to not even do his targets, but not even able to do any of the sales, right? So what we did was we just transformed his department to the project department, and somehow he started performing over there. Obviously, not as per the expectation that some project manager should do, but yes, not very bad as well. So this is where you can help him around. Okay. Now, having said that, particular department needs a project manager in particular. So you cannot assume that, bhai, I have transformed the sales guy to a project department and now he will be behaving like a project manager and you will start weighing him as you should do a project manager. So, I mean, that even though not help us. So what is the solution? The solution is you transform the employee, give him some time. If he works over there, well, it's up to you. You can continue with him, or else you can ask him, boss, okay, I tried, a couple of things on you. Things are not working the way they are expected to be. Please, you can look for a job, and till that time you don't, you can stay and maybe you can struggle with something. The another way around is you tag him with some senior guy, and you can ask for a help. But trust me, that is not helping a lot in the business. Maybe I'm just uttering the bitter truths over here, and I might sound very negative on this, but this is what we face as daily challenges. But this is how it works. This is a true reality.
Please
And
allow me to interrupt him, and I just want to bring the discussion to a very interesting corner.
please do.
That's recently the last week we were having a similar discussion. So in that particular situation, my question, if I may ask, is that how that person was recruited as a sales manager anyway? Because the problem actually started not from there when we found him, in the role. That's a workaround. We were trying to minimize the damage to him and the organization because we have invested. The problem actually, the challenge happened way back when we recruited a person for a set of these defined role and responsibilities with the clearly defined JDs, where we have take him, or we have undergone a series of interviews as well. So how that, would you like to share that case study with us?
Well, see, to be honest with you, so what happened was that we were looking for a salesperson, and definitely, whenever these sales guys come in, so he came and asked, okay, what is going to be target? So I said, like, since you are already in the market, you are doing a lot of sales. So yeah, we'll start humble. Okay. I think that 5 million for a quarter would look good. 5 million dirham, sorry, rupees. 5 million rupees. I mean, this is exactly what you are asking from me. Yeah, 5 million rupees. अच्छा ये तो फिर कोई मसला ही नहीं है. I mean, I'll do it like this. One project
Yeah.
and you are through. My last organization used to give me a target of around like 10 million or 15 million. Okay, yeah, very nice. तो फिर तो there is no problem. फिर 5 million तो यूं होगा फौरन. हाँ जी बिल्कुल होगा.
Right. Mhm.
फिर क्या होता है कि 3 months down the line, अच्छा आप every month पूछ तो रहे होते हैं, because being an owner of the organization, I deal into sales directly because that is the bread and butter of any organization. तो मैं इसको बहुत closely खुद भी
Exactly.
देख रहा हूँ. तो हुआ ये जनाब के जी, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks डाउन द लाइन, अच्छा यार क्या हो रहा है, पाइपलाइन क्या कहती है? सर पाइपलाइन को छोड़ दें, डू नॉट आस्क अबाउट द पाइपलाइन. अच्छा पाइपलाइन में यार कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स होंगे, देयर मस्ट बी सम नंबर्स, देयर मस्ट बी सम ईमेल्स, कुछ तो होगा. बिकॉज when numbers are not achieved, you go with the homework. अच्छा होमवर्क क्या है? Proposals
That's
in the
exactly.
market.
So allow me, because the knowing the time factor as well, and Sahar is
Yeah, yeah.
back.
Yes,
Is just
I
only
was
one
just
point
going
which I
to.
want to
Right.
Please,
I was
highlight
please.
is
just going to
the
close with Ahmad. Yeah, Ahmad, if you could add to our last
Yeah, please.
question, which is how do you deal? Yeah.
Yeah, so just linking the discussion which is going from Asif is the problem actually is, like, of course, when we are recruiting someone and it's such a, like, key position such as the sales people who are required to bring some lot of business, and the whole revenue stream is one is bread, our bloodline, I would say, for any organization. So we ensure, of course, in the background, the check and balances are there. We ensure the past history and credentials. We test the references as well, and the historical record of the person, just to ensure that if that person is not fitting it well or perform well during the probation period, the damage is to minimize the damage from that perspective. So that's where actually I wanted to bring and link up this question and responses of this question with our previous discussion, is how well our processes needs to be defined. As you rightly said, that organization should be process driven, and of course no one should be above the law, means that everyone have to comply with the policies. So handing over back to Barrister, Sahar, is just to close the discussion with, if we have a few minutes more.
No, thank you all for your helpful insights. I think today's topic was more generic rather than specific topic centric, which we usually have. So thank you for your time and look forward to speaking with all of you on another webinar. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, ji. Assalamu alaikum.
Have a
Thank you,
nice day.
Sahar. Assalamu alaikum.